You've probably been told your whole life that cheese is comforting, that it's wholesome, that it's part of a healthy meal melted into your sandwich, sliced onto crackers, or spread across a warm piece of toast. And in some ways it is. But here's the truth. No one told you. After 60, your body doesn't process cheese the way it used to. Not the fat, not the salt, not even the milk proteins that once went down so easily, and the cheeses you once enjoyed without a second thought. Some of them may now be hurting you quietly, contributing to high blood pressure, inflammation, joint pain, poor circulation, memory decline, and even kidney strain. What's worse, the most dangerous cheeses aren't even the ones you expect. They're the common ones, the ones labeled mild, low-fat, or easy to digest. The ones you trusted for decades. And they're quietly becoming a problem for millions of seniors every single day. You see, after 60, several key changes happen inside your body. Your metabolism slows down, so you burn fat less efficiently. Your kidneys filter more slowly, especially if you have high blood pressure or diabetes. Your arteries become more vulnerable to salt and cholesterol. And your gut microbiome, the good bacteria that keep digestion running, starts to weaken. That means the foods that once seemed safe are now having a different effect on your system. And cheese. Cheese is one of the most misunderstood culprits, because depending on the type, cheese can either be a slow-burning fuse for inflammation, arterial damage, and brain fog, or a gentle healer protecting your bones, feeding your gut, and strengthening your memory. So how do you know the difference? That's what we're here to uncover today. We're going to walk through the 4 cheeses you should absolutely avoid if you're over 60, and the 4 you should embrace because they support your body in ways supplements can't. But before we dive in, let's be clear on one thing. This isn't about shame. This isn't about restriction. And it's not about cutting out all the things you love. It's about learning how to choose smarter so your meals support your heart, your bones, your energy, and your independence, instead of quietly sabotaging them. And once you see the science, you won't feel deprived. You'll feel empowered. Because cheese doesn't have to be the enemy. In fact, some of the best cheeses for seniors can become your greatest allies if you know which ones to reach for. But first, let's talk about the ones to avoid. And we're starting with one that isn't even real cheese. You've probably seen it in the fridge, maybe even used it in your grilled cheese sandwich yesterday. It spreads, soft, tastes creamy, and melts like butter. But behind that soft texture is a harsh reality. This cheese doesn't just raise your blood pressure. It's been linked to kidney stress, chemical inflammation, and arterial hardening in seniors. And the worst part, it's marketed as easy to digest, great for kids, light and convenient. But once you understand what's hiding inside that little tub, you'll never look at it the same way again. So stay with us, because what's coming next might be sitting in your refrigerator right now. It looks soft, spreads easy, and wears the disguise of comfort. But beneath that creamy layer lies a silent danger, one that some health experts now call a stroke in a box. You've seen it 100 times, wrapped in foil triangles, stacked in tubs, or smeared into sandwiches by loving hands. Marketed as creamy, kid-friendly, and gentle on the stomach. But what if I told you that this so-called cheese has more in common with a chemistry set than a food? Let's be honest, processed cheese spreads are not really cheese. They're a mixture of emulsifier, artificial colorings, preservative, added sodium, and stabilizers you can't pronounce. And yet they end up in the lunchboxes of children and the refrigerators of seniors because they seem easy to chew, easy to digest, and familiar. But once you're over 60, that familiar comfort can quietly turn into a biological storm. The saturated fats, they don't just thicken your waistline, they thicken your arteries. The sodium. It puts relentless pressure on your blood vessels day after day, raising the risk of stroke. The artificial phosphates. They can disrupt calcium balance, damage kidneys, and accelerate bone loss, exactly what we can't afford at this stage in life. And here's what makes it worse. Most processed cheese spreads contain sodium phosphate, a preservative now linked in multiple studies to faster arterial calcification, which is a fancy way of saying your arteries harden faster, and not from aging alone. In fact, research published by the National Kidney Foundation found a direct link between phosphate additives and kidney decline in older adults. So yes, that creamy, spreadable slice. It might go down easy, but it doesn't sit easy on your heart, your kidneys, or your blood pressure. And the packaging won't warn you. There's no red label saying caution may accelerate vascular damage. But the damage is real, and it builds up over time quietly, like rust in a pipe. That's why some doctors now call processed cheese spreads a stroke in a box. It's strong language, but sometimes truth needs to be. Because here's the reality. Seniors already take medications that strain kidney function. Many live with high blood pressure or borderline cholesterol, and most are trying to stay active, independent, and sharp. So why stack the odds against yourself with something that pretends to be food? And I get it. These spreads are soft. They're nostalgic. They bring back memories of grilled sandwiches and after-school snacks. But we're not in grade school anymore. And neither are our arteries. After 60, every bite counts. Now, here's the good news. You don't have to give up flavor. You don't have to stop enjoying cheese. You just have to make better choices, ones that heal instead of harm. And we'll get to those, but not just yet. Because before we move into the cheeses that support your health, we still need to cover the ones that undermine it silently. Coming up next is a cheese that feels innocent. It's soft. It spreads smooth. It pairs with bagels and brunch. But inside that pillowy texture lies a fat trap, one that feeds inflammation, adds visceral belly fat, and raises infection risk, especially in older adults with slower metabolism and weaker immune systems. Stick with us, because next we're uncovering a soft, familiar cheese that seems innocent, but may quietly be doing your body more harm than good. It's the kind of cheese you don't think twice about. Smooth, spreadable, a staple on bagels, crackers, even desserts. It feels light, like it wouldn't do much harm. But that softness, it's deceptive. Cream cheese is what nutritionists often call a fat trap in disguise. Low in nutrients, high in saturated fat, and nearly void of any real protein. For younger bodies, it might not matter, but after 60, it hits differently. Because by this stage in life, your metabolism has already slowed, your muscle mass has begun to decline, and your body isn't as efficient at processing heavy fats or defending against hidden bacteria. And cream cheese brings both. Every bite delivers more fat than fuel, and almost no vitamins, no fiber, no meaningful support for your bones or brain. Worse still, its soft, moist texture makes it a breeding ground for listeria, a bacteria that poses a serious risk to older adults with weakened immunity. It doesn't take much. Just leaving it out of the fridge a little too long or spreading it on a room temperature snack, and suddenly what should have been a light breakfast can spiral into days of nausea, dizziness, even hospitalization. And if you like flavored cream cheese, the danger doubles. Because with honey walnut strawberry swirl or cinnamon raisin, you're not just getting the fat. You're now stacking on added sugars, which quietly raise insulin, increase belly fat, and worsen joint inflammation. All of that from one innocent-looking swipe on your morning toast. And maybe it feels small, but when you're eating it a few times a week or even daily, those small choices become big consequences. The good news, there are safer, more nourishing alternatives ahead. But before we get to them, there's another cheese we need to talk about, one that many people call gourmet. With a marbled blue pattern that screams sophistication. But underneath its bold taste is a compound that can disturb your heart rhythm, trigger migraines, and for some seniors, even lead to a trip to the emergency room. Stay close, because the next cheese we reveal might be the most misleading of them all. You might find it on a fancy cheese board next to grapes and walnuts. It's the kind of cheese people pair with wine and call elegant. But under that bold flavor is something far less refined. Blue cheese. With its sharp taste and signature mold veins, it's often seen as a grown-up cheese, rich, mature, and full of character. But for those of us over 60, it may also be full of hidden threats. You see, blue cheese contains a substance called tyramine, a naturally occurring compound that's harmless to some, but problematic for others, especially as we age. In younger bodies, tyramine is broken down quickly, but in older adults with slower enzymatic activity and more medications in the mix, tyramine can linger in the bloodstream, and that's where things go wrong. It can trigger dangerous spikes in blood pressure, cause headaches, dizziness, and in some cases, even irregular heart rhythms. For seniors already taking blood pressure meds, antidepressants, or MAO inhibitors, this interaction isn't just risky, it can be life-threatening. But that's not the only concern. Blue cheese is made with penicillium mold, and while that may sound impressive, it's an active fungus that produces biogenic amine substances that can interfere with your nervous system. Over time, these compounds can contribute to that off feeling. You can't quite explain fluttering in your chest, sudden fatigue, or a pounding headache after dinner. Worse for anyone with a weakened immune system, especially common over 60, blue cheese carries a higher risk of listeria contamination, particularly if it's unpasteurized, left out too long, or poorly stored. Listeria in older adults isn't just a stomach bug. It can lead to sepsis, meningitis, or dangerous systemic infection. And it doesn't announce itself loudly. Sometimes it starts with just a flushed face, a racing heart, or a wave of pressure in the head. Symptoms that are easy to ignore until they're not. And let's not forget the salt. Blue cheese is one of the saltiest cheeses you can eat, with some versions packing over 400 milliliters of sodium in a single ounce. Stack that with its high cream content, and you've got the perfect storm for elevated blood pressure, inflammation, and artery stress. So, while it may look gourmet on the outside, blue cheese can be a quiet aggressor, especially for older adults trying to stay steady, clear, and in control of their health. And still, we're not done. Because there's one more cheese that may feel the most familiar of all. One that brings back childhood lunches and melty grilled sandwiches. But it's not what you think. In fact, it's barely even cheese at all. And what's inside it could be the most processed, most damaging combination of all. Don't go anywhere, because what we uncover next could change what you put between those slices of bread forever. It comes wrapped in plastic, bright yellow, perfectly square, always the same. American cheese. You've seen it melted on burgers, grilled in sandwiches, or layered in school lunches. And maybe it brings back a little nostalgia, a simpler time, a familiar taste. But let's pull back the wrapper, because what's inside is not the comfort food it once seemed. American cheese isn't actually cheese, at least not in the way you think. It's a highly processed product made from scraps of real cheese mixed with emulsifier, artificial colors, preservative, added oils, and alarming amounts of sodium and phosphate compound. It's not aged, it's not natural, and for a body over 60, it's not forgiving. Let's start with the salt. Just one slice of American cheese can contain up to 450 milligrams of sodium, nearly 20% of your daily limit, in a paper-thin square. And most people don't stop at one slice. Stack a few in a sandwich, and suddenly you're pushing your blood pressure higher than you realize. Now add in the phosphates, those same artificial additives used to make the texture so smooth and stretchy. These compounds don't just interfere with calcium absorption. They've been linked in senior populations to accelerated arterial calcification, which means faster hardening of the arteries and greater risk of stroke and heart disease. For older adults already managing hypertension, high cholesterol, or kidney function, decline. This is no small issue. It's a ticking clock, and every bite adds pressure. And here's something even more subtle. American cheese contains emulsifiers, the agents responsible for that melted feel. But recent research shows that emulsifiers may disrupt gut bacteria, causing low-grade inflammation that worsens autoimmune conditions, digestive issues, and even mood. That's right. A slice of comfort might be slowly turning up inflammation in your joints, brain, and belly. And yet, we keep eating it. Because it's fast. Because it's easy. Because it tastes like childhood. But your body isn't a child anymore, and it can't afford to be fed like one. There are better ways, better options. Cheeses that support your base, your brain, your digestion, without tearing down the systems you've spent a lifetime trying to protect. And the best part, they're still rich, still flavorful, still deeply satisfying. But they work with your body, not against it. So now let's shift. You've seen the 4 to avoid the ones that inflame, overburden, and deceive. But now it's time to discover the cheeses that heal, the ones that reduce inflammation, strengthen your bones, soothe your gut, and protect your mind. And the first one on that list, it's soft, delicate, and surprisingly powerful. A cheese that offers anti-inflammatory fats, natural peptides, and a mineral profile made for aging bodies. Let's take a closer look. It's a cheese you may have passed by in the grocery store, sitting quietly in a tub of water with a name that doesn't shout. But don't be fooled by its simplicity. Mozzarella, especially the fresh kind, is one of the gentlest, most nourishing cheeses you can give your body after 60. It's not the rubbery, shredded kind sealed in plastic, not the ultra-processed blocks packed with preservatives. We're talking about the real thing, soft, fresh mozzarella made with minimal ingredients, water, buffalo milk, rennet, and cultures. And here's why it matters. Mozzarella is lower in sodium than most cheeses, making it far less stressful for your blood pressure. It's also naturally low in saturated fat, which reduces the burden on your arteries. And for people dealing with joint inflammation or heart issues, that balance is a gift. But what makes mozzarella truly stand out is its bioactive compounds, tiny peptides that form during the fermentation process. These compounds don't just sound fancy. They have real studied effects, helping reduce blood pressure, calming systemic inflammation, and even aiding digestion. That's because mozzarella, especially buffalo mozzarella, is easier to break down with less lactose, more water content, and a texture that doesn't overwhelm your stomach. If you've noticed your digestion isn't what it used to be, if certain foods leave you feeling heavy, bloated, or tired, then mozzarella can become your safe haven. It's also rich in calcium, phosphorus, and vitamin A, nutrients critical to keeping your bones strong, supporting immune function, protecting your eyes as you age. And here's something you won't hear often. Buffalo mozzarella contains conjugated linoleic acid, CLA, a natural fatty acid shown to reduce inflammation, support metabolism, and even improve lean muscle maintenance in older adults. That means this humble cheese isn't just passive food. It's active support for your joints, your heart, and your energy. and it's incredibly versatile. You can pair it with tomatoes and basil, layer it onto roasted vegetables, toss it into salads, or enjoy it with olive oil and cracked pepper. No gimmicks, no additives, just nourishment. After 60, we don't need extreme diets or expensive supplements. What we need are small, consistent choices, the kind that feel good, taste good, and do good inside the body. Mozzarella offers that kind of peace. And if you think soft cheese can't be bold, just wait until you meet the next one. It's sharp, it's tangy, and though it's salty by nature, it holds a secret power for your gut, your bones, and even your mood. Stay close, because this next cheese may surprise you not just with its flavor, but with how powerfully it supports the aging body. It crumbles easily, tastes bright, and brings a bit of sharpness to every bite. For some, it's a bold accent. For others, it's a flavor of home. But for those over 60, it can be something far more valuable. Feta, a cheese that not only awakens your taste buds, but also supports your gut, your bones, and your immune system. Now, at first glance, feta may seem like a strange choice. It's salty, tangy, almost aggressive compared to milder cheeses. But the secret lies in how it's made and what it's made from. Traditional feta is crafted from sheep's milk or a blend of sheep and goat milk, not cow's milk, and that makes a world of difference. Sheep and goat milk contain different proteins, ones that are easier to digest, especially for aging bodies that have grown more sensitive to lactose or cow's milk casein. For many seniors who've struggled with bloating, gas, or discomfort after eating dairy, switching to cheeses like feta can feel like a breath of fresh air. But the benefits don't stop with digestion. Feta is packed with calcium, protein, and vitamin B12, all essential for maintaining bone strength, muscle preservation, and proper nerve function. And that last one is key, because as we age, our absorption of B12 declines, leaving many seniors unknowingly deficient. Low B12 can affect memory balance, even your mood. So getting more of it naturally through foods like feta is not just helpful, it's protective. But perhaps the most underrated benefit of feta lies in what you can't see: the probiotics. That's right, feta is a fermented cheese, and that means it contains beneficial bacteria that help restore balance in your gut microbiome. And gut health, as we now know, is at the root of stronger immunity, better digestion, reduced inflammation, and even emotional stability. For seniors who've taken antibiotics or dealt with long-term medications, feta offers a way to gently rebuild the gut from within. And unlike creamy or heavy cheeses, feta gives you a lot of flavor from a little portion. That means you don't need to overeat it. Just a few crumbles in your salad, on roasted vegetables, or over whole grains. And your meal becomes more satisfying, more nourishing, and more balanced. Worried about the salt? There's a simple fix. Rinse your feta before using. You can cut the sodium content by up to 30% without losing the flavor or the benefits. In a world where processed cheese hides behind fake promises, feta stands proud, sharp, simple, and alive with purpose. It supports what matters. It delivers what you need. And it asks for nothing more than to be used with intention. And now, as we move forward, we come to a cheese that looks familiar, but behaves very differently. With its signature holes and nutty flavor, it's been sitting quietly in delis for decades. But for seniors, it may be the most heart-friendly cheese of all. Let's look a little deeper. It's pale, it's full of holes, and for most people, it's nothing special. But looks can be deceiving, because this cheese, often overlooked, might just be one of the most powerful allies for your heart. Swiss cheese. Gentle in flavor, naturally aged, and surprisingly low in salt. This classic cheese holds a secret strength for seniors, especially for those watching their blood pressure and trying to preserve strong bones. Let's start with the most unexpected part. Swiss cheese is one of the lowest sodium cheeses you can eat. Just 1 ounce contains around 54 milligrams of sodium, less than a quarter of what you'll find in a slice of cheddar or American cheese. For anyone over 60 managing hypertension, this low sodium profile is not just helpful, it's essential. But the benefits go deeper, because Swiss cheese is also naturally low in lactose, thanks to the way it's aged. During this slow fermentation process, most of the milk sugars break down, making it easier to digest even for those with mild lactose sensitivity. And if you've had that heavy bloated feeling after eating other cheeses, you may find that Swiss leaves you feeling light, steady, and energized. But what really makes Swiss cheese stand out? Vitamin K2. Unlike vitamin K1, which mostly supports blood clotting, vitamin K2 helps move calcium out of your arteries and into your bones where it belongs. That means eating K2-rich foods like Swiss cheese can actually help prevent arterial calcification, a silent threat for many older adults, especially those on calcium supplements or with existing heart concerns. In fact, K2 is one of the most underappreciated nutrients for seniors, and Swiss cheese happens to be one of the best natural sources. Now add to that over 220 milligrams of calcium per ounce, nearly 8 grams of high-quality protein, and a natural bacterial culture called Propionibacterium freudenreichi, which has been shown to boost immune function and lower inflammation in older adults. And you start to realize this isn't just a cheese, it's a quiet powerhouse. It supports bone density, preserves muscle mass, protects blood vessels, and delivers energy without taxing your digestion. You can slice it onto whole grain bread, melt it over steamed veggies. Enjoy it in moderation, knowing every bite is doing something good. Because as you age, it's not about restriction, it's about choosing what supports your body instead of stealing from it. And now, as we approach the final cheese on this journey, we reach something creamy rich and often misunderstood. It's not flashy, it's not fancy, but it may be the most complete cheese for senior health. Gentle on your gut, rich in healthy fats, and surprisingly powerful for your brain bones and metabolism. Let's take a look. It's not the kind of cheese that shouts. There are no bright colors, no bold branding. Just a soft, simple round, often wrapped in plain white, sitting quietly near the specialty section. But don't let that modest appearance fool you, because goat cheese might just be one of the most powerful foods for anyone over 60. Here's why. As we grow older, one of the first things we notice is how our digestion changes. Foods that once felt light now sit heavy. Meals we once loved now come with bloating discomfort or fatigue. Goat cheese offers a gentle way back to balance. It's made with a different kind of milk one that contains short and medium-chain fatty acids. That means it's easier to digest, requires less work from your liver, and is less likely to be stored as body fat. For seniors with slowed metabolism or sensitive stomachs, this makes all the difference. And unlike many cow's milk cheeses, goat cheese is naturally lower in lactose and casein, making it a safer option for those who experience inflammation, joint pain, or mucus buildup after dairy. But digestion is just the beginning. Goat cheese is also a rich source of probiotics, those beneficial bacteria that keep your gut healthy, your immunity strong, and your brain functioning clearly. As we age, our gut microbiome tends to shrink, especially after years of medication stress or poor sleep. This can lead to weakened immunity, chronic inflammation, and even mood imbalances. Goat cheese helps restore that inner balance gently and naturally. And the nutrients: calcium and phosphorus to keep your bones strong, zinc to support healing and immunity, selenium for thyroid function and antioxidant protection, and a special kind of vitamin A that supports your eyes, your skin, and your brain. But perhaps the most overlooked gift of goat cheese is this. It's rich in healthy fats, including omega-3s, which have been linked to improved memory, better mood, and protection against age-related cognitive decline. Some researchers are now exploring goat cheese and similar dairy products as tools to help reduce the risk of Alzheimer's disease, not just through theory, but through active nutrient support. And it doesn't stop there. Goat cheese is clean. It's simple. It usually contains just 2 or 3 ingredients with no preservatives, no additives, no artificial colors. In a world where food is getting more and more complicated, goat cheese stays honest. You can crumble it over salads, blend it into omelets, spread it on whole grain toast with a drizzle of olive oil or honey. It's satisfying without being heavy, flavorful without being overbearing, healing without being clinical. At this stage in life, those qualities matter more than ever, because food should do more than fill us. It should support us, rebuild us, carry us forward without dragging us down. And goat cheese does just that. Now that we've explored the 4 cheeses to enjoy and the 4 to avoid, let's bring it all together, because the power of these choices is even greater when we look at the big picture. The truth is, after 60, every bite matters more, and the cheeses you choose or leave behind can quietly shape your future. This isn't about restriction, it's about respect for your heart, your bones, your brain. So if something in today's message stayed with you, even just one simple shift, you'll try. Subscribe to Senior Fit, where growing older means growing wiser, stronger, and still moving forward. Let us know. Which cheese will you say goodbye to? And which one are you ready to welcome? Because sometimes the smallest changes lead to the greatest strength.